Guys, Kevin again. Yes, I am back after a week. I want to first of all apologize for why I haven't made any videos at all this week. I've been very busy. You guys know from my last video I did, which was last Sunday, a week from, last weekend, literally a week from today. I was very busy, and I really wanted to get videos out this week. I really did. I tried to, but I was just very tired, okay? I was doing Les Mis for my school musical, and it's a very tiring show. If you guys know Les Mis, you know it's very long, it's very tiring, it's very emotional, and it takes a lot out of you. It really does. And there was a lot of emotions going through me. I was very tired. I just didn't feel like making videos. I really didn't. I was just like, I'm just not gonna make videos this week. And I wanted to yesterday, but again, yesterday I was so tired. I was so tired, and I woke up at like 1 o'clock, and I was just like, fuck it, I'll do it tomorrow. And finally today, I am done with the show. We had our last show today, which, yeah, it's sad that we had our last show today, but I am back in business, and I'm definitely going to tell you guys that videos will be coming much more rapidly, because now that the show's over, I can make a lot more, I have a lot more time. And that's really been the thing, guys. I haven't had any time. And I'm going to try to get back into things, definitely. I know there's a lot to catch up on. I'm going to try to do it this week, but with that being said, let's just get this review. This is going to be my review for Shameless, Season 6, Episode 8, Be a Good Boy, Come for Grandma, and I was looking forward to this episode, but at the same time, I wasn't. You guys know I was not a fan, really, at all of the last episode. I thought that it was way too rushed. It was really just a plot development on how to get everyone back in the house and how to get things back to normal. Completely forget everything the season's been building up to. And I will say, some of this episode was really good. I really liked a lot of this episode. I thought it was very strong, and there was some really good stuff here. But like the rest of the season, a lot of it really I thought was quite unnecessary. Some of the plots in this episode I felt were just there to give characters a plot. And I'll get into the stuff that I liked in this episode, the things that I didn't like, because there are some things I like and things I didn't. Now let me just say, first of all, that I know Shameless is an over-the-top show. I know, it's a very over-the-top show. Things like that. It's a really over-the-top show, and they go really over the top with things. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And I think this episode's a very good example of that. There were some things that worked very well in this episode and some things that didn't. Now let's get to our main arc of this episode, which had to do with Queenie, Carl, and Frank. So Queenie pretty much is taking over the entire house, which I really don't know how to feel about Queenie. There are times I like her, and then there are times where I find her really annoying. I mean, her getting the family to sit down to the dining room table, actually eat breakfast, I mean, that's really funny. I like seeing that, especially from the Gallaghers, who don't normally do that. Them joking that they didn't know they had a dining room table. I thought that was very funny, and I really like the way that was done. And they don't even want to eat, and everyone's leaving the table, but then Queenie slams her hand down the table, demanding them to come back since their father went through great lengths to prepare that breakfast, and they need to show him a little bit more respect. And she breaks out into song. It was so weird. Like, they're just, like, randomly singing. And then there's a knock at the door, and we see that it's one of Carl's guys demanding to see him, and I kind of like the way this went because it shows that Carl can never get out of this, and you can tell that Carl wants to get out of this. He really wants to get out of this whole crime situation, but now that he's really gotten himself into it, it's really hard to get out of it, and we see that he wants to see him, and Frank, of course, is wondering who this guy is. He has no idea what this guy's agenda is or anything, and his name is Lamar, and he wants to see Carl, and Frank nicely asks him to come back since they are enjoying a family breakfast. Carl rushes to the door, says that he's got it, and Lamar questions where he's been hiding, but Carl says here and there, and Lamar says that G-Dog has a shipment coming in that needs to run, but Carl says that he just wants to sit this one out, and Lamar then literally, like, punches Carl very hard in the face, and he gives him this really big gash in his forehead for, like, the rest of the episode, and he sternly tells him that he's in this game for life. He can't, he's in this game for life, and he basically can't get out of it, and that I thought was a really effective scene. It shows that while Carl wants to turn his life around, it might just be too late. He's already really gotten into this whole gang situation. He's already really gotten himself into this whole crime business, and it's going to be very hard for him to get out of it. Even though he wants to, it's going to be very hard to do, and I really like seeing that in this episode. I thought that was very strong. What I didn't like is him going to Frank for advice. Look, I get that Carl's always been close to Frank. He has. If you remember the early seasons, Carl was like the one person that always trusted Frank. But recently, there hasn't really been anything with this. It seems like Carl and Frank have kind of grown apart a little bit, and Carl doesn't really trust Frank as much. So, going to Frank for advice, I understand. He needed advice from someone. Frank was there. And, I think it was kind of just he needed advice. And basically, what ends up happening is that he walks into Frank and Queenie having sex, which they are showing this way too much. I get that these two are disgusting. I really get that. But this is stupid. I don't need to see Frank and Queenie having sex every 10 minutes. It's disgusting. It's gross. And I don't want to see it. It's just, it's disgusting. So he basically goes to Frank, and Carl confesses to Frank that he wants out of the game, but Frank jumps in about how he's the breadwinner of the family and Gallagher's don't quit. And after having a little chat, Frank at least offers up to do his rounds for the day so he can get his head up on straight, and basically, he pretends to be Carl. That's what he's going to do. He's going to do what Carl would normally do. So, Carl goes to V to get stitches while she tries to get him out of what's going on. And she gives him little answers. She figures that it's enough to be worried about and tells him to get out of it. And, since she probably doesn't tell Fiona, she tells Kev what happened since she knows he can't keep secrets and will spill to Fiona for her. And, Frank is basically the rest of the episode running Carl's protection services, and this was funny. I gotta say, I like seeing this. I like seeing Frank do something for Carl, even though it might not have been the best thing to do. He really was just trying to help out his son, which I thought this was well done. I did like the way that they did this, and I like this overall, because Frank completely puts his head into cornrows, and he's very racist for a lot of this episode, and when he's hitting up his first business, he's almost laughed at, and he finds out the only reason he was playing up was because of the scary black man that was with his son, and Carl would threaten that he would come in and beat him up if he didn't pay, and he doesn't need protection from the neighborhood, he needs protection from Nick, basically, and that's what was going on. So Frank heads back to the barbershop, hollers that he needs a scary-looking black man, and of course, these people think, this black guy thinks he's crazy, he thinks he's being racist, and he keeps calling him a cracker throughout the episode, which I thought was pretty funny. Of course, yeah, that's racist, but I still thought that was pretty funny. Just the interactions between Gareth and Frank in this episode, I really like. I thought they were very funny, and I really did enjoy them. And basically, Frank then returns home. He sees Carl's fixing up the yard with landmines, tells me how much cash he made, and then laughs he hasn't done this sooner. Carl tells him he doesn't want any of the money. He's out and doesn't want to run. And Frank then gets upset, tells him how disappointed in him he is. And the next day, still trying to beat Carl, he goes to track down G-Dog, or at least Lamar. And Lamar agrees to see him, and Frank says that he'll do Carl's run. Lamar asking how he can trust Frank to do it, tells him that if he doesn't come through, he will carve off his left testicle and feed it to his dogs, and Frank looks a little uneasy about those terms, but he still accepts, and Frank clearly does not understand how serious this is. I mean, he's not really taking it seriously. He's kind of just doing this for fun, but he's enjoying it, and that's the thing. Frank is enjoying this now. What I'm worried about is that this is going to get really bad for Frank, and maybe it's time for things to get bad for Frank, definitely, because Frank's been in such, weird position, all this entire season. He really hasn't had much of a plot, so I like they are trying to give Frank more. Really, to me, it seems like Frank's initial plot has been to help out his kids, but then the episode before, it didn't seem like he was doing that at all, and now it seems like he is trying to help out Carl, so I can't really tell where they're going with Frank. I just know that I like what they did with him in this episode. I don't know if it's the direction to go with him or what, but at this point, if I enjoy what they're doing, that's what seems to work on Shameless, really. I mean, you guys know this is a very scattered season, and basically, Frank is obviously very freaked out that he's going to lose, his left testicle, but at least they have been cutting in with baby laxative as much as they've been taking, and once the drop-off was done, it was figured out since everyone is, laxing their pants, Lamar went outside the house for Frank's return, chased him down, and you can tell this is not going to end well. I mean, Frank has now really got himself in deep, and it's clear that Frank is going to think that this is just an easy way to get out of this, but now that Frank has done what he's done, this is not going to end well. It's really not. And like I said, I like the direction they're going. Like they're giving Frank a genuine storyline. For me, there's not enough with Carl. I wanted some more emotional stuff with Carl. And we kind of got it with Sean a little bit. But I just wanted a little bit more. I feel like Carl, we just need to get a little bit more of what's going on there. We'll get into what's going on. But let's get to the plot with Fiona, which I thought was well done this episode. I like the way this was done. because we know that now Fiona, she's gone to Sean's and she really has turned things around. She's not really acting like they're living, she's not acting like the Gallagher's live-in house mother or anything like that anymore, because she's not that. She knows that. She knows that she's now in a different position, and I like the way this was done. I thought they really handled this really well, I gotta say. I definitely like the way they did this. Basically, Will comes for a visit. Will's putting up an attitude toward her now since he found out that she moved in. She offers to try and break through to him since she has been where he's at, but doesn't get very far. And her and Will, I mean, this is a very different situation because this isn't one of her siblings, and I like the way this was done. Will obviously has a lot of problems with her being there, and she offers to try and break through to him since she has been where he's at, but doesn't get very far. And she finally convinces him to go out, try out some hoverboards, and tries to bond with him over lunch, telling him about things that she did to get rid of partners her parents had by planting drugs in them. It's a really effective scene. You really do see the situation that Will's going through. Fiona knows drug addiction because Frank did all that kind of stuff, and she knows what it's like to have a parent that's not there a lot, and she just knows about that. And I like the bonding between these two. I think it's really cathartic for Fiona, and it's also a really good way for her to bond with Will. So I like the way this was done. But their chat is interrupted from Kev that he needs to talk to her and come to the alibi. And arriving at the alibi, Will plays smartass, tries to order a rum and coke, and is shot down just to a coke. And Kev then blows V's secret that she promised Carl that she would keep Carl's secret to her, just V had hoped for. And of course, race home to confront him on it, asking him what's going on. She promises not to get upset. Carl breaks down, tells her literally everything, which I was very surprised about since he didn't want Fiona to know, but I think it's just that he knows that she's concerned, and that she knows he really knew he had no way out of it. I think that's really what it's about. He knew he had no way out of this, so he just needed to confess to her what was going on, which I thought was really well done, I gotta say. I like the way they handled this, definitely. He breaks down, and you see how horrible this gangbanger lifestyle can be. It's a really effective scene. I really think they handled the stuff with Carl really well here. I definitely really enjoyed that. Sean then takes Carl to go smooth things out with G-Dog and discovers that they aren't young kids working the corner like Carl told Fiona, and they're trying to help Carl get out of the business. G-Dog wonders how does he know that he won't go spread trade secrets or work for the competition. Better yet, what kind of message would he be sending if he just let him walk away? It's just not the right thing to do. And Sean says that people see he's a reasonable guy and that Carl won't have to time to, since he will be working 40 hours a week for him in his diner. And I like this direction. I like that Sean is trying to put Carl in the right direction. It also shows that Sean's a good guy. Even though Sean has done drugs, things like that, he's gone straight. He really has gone straight, and he's trying to turn his life around, and I like the way they're doing this. And G-Dog tells Sean that he's a funny guy and a sharp dresser. He demands the clothes off Sean's back in his car, and Carl and Sean find themselves walking home with no clothes. And obviously that sucks because it's winter. And basically at dinner, Will's not coming to dinner, and Sean discovers that him in a room with a gun, and Will's very shaken up. But he very quickly realizes that it's Carl's gun. That's basically what's going on. Sean and Fiona actually get into a very big argument. Sean said it must have been at the house and that she only left Will alone for a second. And Sean fears losing his visitation rights over this, and he totally accused Fiona and says some really mean things to her. And Fiona then takes Carl to the house, walks him throughout the house to find where all the hidden guns are, rips out all his rows, which is crazy that she did that. And it's interesting to see if, Will did this just to break Sean and Fiona up. I mean, you could see that Will just, even though he's bonding with Fiona, he clearly does not want Fiona there because things have been, he obviously he has a mom, and he wants to see his mom. He doesn't want Fiona to replace his mom, and that makes sense, definitely. So I really did feel bad for the kid, I gotta say. And I don't think Will's doing something bad. I think you can kind of understand what he's doing. He's had a mom, and Fiona is in danger of replacing her, and he clearly doesn't want that, and I like the way they're handling it. I definitely really enjoyed that. Really good stuff there, and I like the way this was done. However, it really seems like Sean and Fiona are really starting to... It's not going to end well for them, unfortunately, which sucks, but... that's basically where that was going. Now, let me get to the two things I thought were completely unnecessary in this episode. What the hell was up with Debbie's plot here? What was this? I mean, it really seemed like they only did this to give Debbie a plot. Now, I get that Debbie is very naive, and she's a teenager, and she's really stupid. But come on, like, anyone with a brain would know there's something wrong here. I mean, I did not like the way this was done. I really didn't. Because Debbie's shopping for baby stuff, and basically she's hoping that someone's going to throw her a shower, and there's this guy who is played by, the guy that plays Jake in Awkward. I can't think of his name right now, but he was in this, and I thought he did a good job here. And it's this guy Larry, and her and Larry actually get very close, and he even gives his number. He asks for her to give him his number, which is really weird, obviously, because, you know, just randomly. And then he asks her to lunch so he can take her properly, and she wants to make it clear that she's 7 months pregnant, obviously, but he doesn't care. He knew that she was 7 months pregnant, and he wants to get to know more about her, and he drills her with a ton of questions, and it seems that they have a lot in common, and it's really weird. Like, this guy's really acting shady, but the whole time, you know, Debbie goes along with it, and I don't know why she went along with this. I mean, to me, if someone weird like that were to come to me, I just get the fuck away. Like, there are weird people in the world, and Debbie doesn't understand that. And I really feel that Debbie's going to get herself into a really bad situation if she continues to just trust everyone, because it really seems like that's what she's doing. And I get that Debbie at this point really doesn't have many people that support her pregnancy, and just having a guy being okay with it, I think that's kind of what it was, that because Larry was okay with her pregnancy and her being pregnant, that's kind of why she was like, all right, I'll talk to this guy. Maybe he's not the best person to talk to, but I'll just at least give him the time of day, things like that. I understand that, but I just really thought that Debbie made a horrible decision here. I mean, come on, like, can you be any dumber? There's clearly something going on here. We eventually realize that this guy is into pregnant women. He has this disease where he is a mycophiliac, I think it's called, and he has like a pregnancy fetish, which I've never heard of this in my life. I'm sure it's a real thing, but I've never heard of that, because I'm sure there are very few people that have it, but obviously, Debbie gets the fuck away from him because there's another girl he's dating at the same exact time as Debbie, and obviously he's, you know, really weird, so she gets away from him, luckily, which I was happy about. But I really found this to be very unnecessary. It seemed like they only did this just to bring in something controversial like that and to address this subject. And it really didn't go anywhere. We're not gonna see Larry again. It's not really gonna do anything, and you know, it didn't really make much sense to me why this was here. And then Lip as well. I thought Lip's thing was also very unnecessary in this episode. I was really not as big as a fan of it, I have to say. I did not like the way that they did this here. Lip, as we know, he's hung up on Helene. He's hung up on Helene. He can't get over her. We know that's going on. But this entire plot was all about how, because Lip doesn't have Helene, you know, and he now has these sorority girls who, they're fine. They're not really that hot, I'll say that. Okay, I understand. They're not like the hottest girls ever. But he can't, get a boner because of this, and the entire plot was him trying to get a boner, which I really thought was dumb. I mean, this is Shameless at its best, I will say that. This is only Shameless would do a show like this, I understand, would do a plot like this, but I really thought this was stupid. Just the fact that he couldn't get off, I mean, I just found this to be really unnecessary. And we see that there are so many girls that just want to have sex with him, and it's not working. And the only thing that seems to be working is when he jerks off to a picture of Helene. That's really all that's working. But him going to her house and, like, freaking out and things like that, he really needs to get over her. It's just stupid at this point. I'm not a fan of the way this was done. And then he goes to his house, which I was happy that Lip came home, but Queenie is the one that helps him. She gives him, like, this foot massage that has, like, a sex organ in it, and it makes things better for him. He ends up having, like, a foursome. I mean, it was just really weird. I really found it very strange overall. I really found it very unnecessary, and just like Debbie, I really thought it was just there to give Lip a plot. What I do want them to do with this is show Lip's fixation on Helene, because it's clear that he's not over her, and he's not going to get over her anytime soon. That's the thing that they have shown, I think, very well in this plot. The thing that I don't like is everything else that's going on. I think it's dumb, I think it's stupid, and I really think it's unnecessary what they're doing. I really want them to go in a different direction with this, I have to say. This is not the direction to take it, and I hope they take this seriously, because there are a lot of things that Shameless takes seriously, and I'm happy about, but then this season, it seems like a lot of things they should be taking seriously, they're not, and this is a very good example of that. Lip is obsessed with Helene. He is. He's not going to get over her, and she clearly wants nothing to do with him, so I really hope they make this apparent, because they really haven't. They haven't really done anything that big with this, and it really seems like they're not really taking it all that seriously, which sucks because I like the direction. I like this. I think it could be a good plot overall. It's just not really working for me, the direction they're going with it, but I do think it can get better, I have to say. Just this whole thing, I wasn't into it, I gotta say. What I did really like was Ian's plot. I thought Ian's plot was really strong here with him and Caleb. We find out a lot more about Caleb in this episode. As we know, basically, he is closeted. His parents don't know that he's out. I thought that that was very well done in the last episode. And, basically, we see that he wants to be closer with Caleb, and basically we find out in this episode that the reason that Caleb doesn't want to get intimate with Ian is because he's HIV positive, and he can't pass it on, but he's still very cautious about it, because right now he can't, but who knows later. Later it might happen, and I thought this is a good direction to take Caleb in, because we don't, for me at least, I like the direction they're going with this. I think this is a good way to go with Caleb's story, and I like having someone that's not just constantly having sex with Ian, because every guy that Ian's with, it seems like he just has sex with, and Caleb's not like that, and it makes sense why Caleb is so sensitive when it comes to that. He's very worried, and it really also shows he genuinely cares for Ian. He's a good guy, and I like Ian and Caleb overall. I like the way they're handling this, and I think it's overall really, really good. I definitely like the way that was done. Really good stuff there. So overall, guys, good episode. I really did enjoy this one. It wasn't a perfect episode by any means, because like I said, the Lip and Debbie plot I really found very unnecessary. It really seems like they're trying to make Queenie seem like this great person, but then when they have her with Frank, it seems like they're trying to make her seem disgusting. So I really can't tell what they're trying to do with Queenie. Are they trying to show that she's like a motherly figure that they need, or are they showing that she's just taken over everything and they really don't need her? Because I can't really tell where they're going with Queenie, I gotta say. It's very strange for me. I am very interested in seeing what's going on with Frank, though, because like I said, he's really gotten himself deep with this gang, and it's going to be very hard for him to get out of it. And obviously, Carl isn't getting out of it anytime soon. I think it's going to get really bad for Frank now, what he's done. I think he's just made things worse for Carl. And I definitely think that things are going to get really bad there. Fiona and Sean, I'm really worried for them, I gotta say. I mean, Will clearly tried to split them up. He does not want them together, because obviously he wants Sean with his mom, but he tried to split them up, and I'm really worried for what's going to happen with Fiona and Sean. I hope things work out for them, but right now, at least, it really seems like they're on the verge of breaking up, and I would not be surprised if Fiona and Sean end up breaking up. I've said it before, Fiona and Sean are perfect for each other. They work very well, but something like this, I really feel it's going to be hard for them to move past this. I mean, this is a genuine problem. This is a problem. Her brother had guns, and she left Will alone, and obviously he got the guns. She should never have left the kid alone. Obviously, he's not very stable. He's not very happy, and it just wasn't the right thing to do. So I can understand why this is going to be a problem, and I'm interested in seeing really how they end up portraying this, because this could be really interesting the way they go with this, definitely. I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen there. Lip, I just hope they take this in a more realistic direction, because what they did in this episode, I wasn't a fan of. I didn't like the way this was done. I think they could have just do this fixate. You can do a fixation on Helene. You can do that. You can totally do Lip being obsessed with Helene. I got no problem with that. What I do want them to do is maybe just give it a bit more, like do more with this. Don't just make it Lip, not being able to jerk off or anything like that. I think that's really dumb, the direction they took it. And yes, that's totally a Shameless storyline, but for me, it just didn't work here. I really want them to take this more seriously, and they're not, and it sucks. Debbie is going to end up in, getting raped or something, honestly. At this point, Debbie seems to be trusting everyone. The fact she trusted Larry, I really hope is a reality check for her, and I really hope they're not ruining Debbie's character. Like I said, they've seemed to be portraying Debbie as dumb. They seem to be portraying her as rebellious and very naive. She seems to trust anyone that supports her pregnancy, and this is going to end up really bad for her. So I really hope that this gets Debbie to maybe think more about what she's doing, because this isn't the right thing to be doing, really. I don't think this is a good thing for Debbie to do. And then Caleb and Ian, I like the way this is going, because Ian's in a tough situation now. He has this guy that, clearly likes him, but Ian wants to have sex with him, and he can't because Caleb doesn't want to, and of course he's HIV positive. So Caleb's, Ian's really in this situation where he needs to decide what to do, and we'll have to see what happens there. But overall, guys, really great episode. Like I said, besides those two plots, I really did enjoy this episode overall. Definitely one of the better episodes of the season. I'm glad you guys saw this episode. Glad to be doing reviews again. I will see you guys next year, which will be for 11/22/63. And I know I have a lot of catching up to do. I'm going to try to take this whole week and do that, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.